done my post-graduation in MBA in Finance and Marketing. I have round about 4+ years experience in the field of SAP as a consultant. And the initial projects which I got was rollout project as well as support project. So I was part of ECC also, and the new implementation project, latest which I'm working on is S4 HANA. This is all about my work experience. Yes.
So you are working in S4 HANA in support and rollout, as you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it possible to tell for which client you are working for rollout or you have worked?
The client is again, I cannot disclose the name of the client. I'll put it as ABC Private Limited.
Okay, no problem. So rollout, which market you have done the rollout?
India only, sir. My client belongs to US and they have operated in India, so I've done the rollout for Indian market.
So what was your reference company code you have taken?
Reference company code CK00.
That is again Indian company code or US company code?
Indian company code, sir. I've taken that.
Okay, so when you did the rollout, what are the you might have conducted the workshop, right? So what information you have gathered from them? Like how you're from requirement gathering till go live? What process you have followed?
So the first point here is, since they already have this one of the subsidiary which is implemented SAP, so we had an advantage here. So we asked them about the basic templates and what different inputs we are going to gather. For example, their company is already operating in US. So right now they are opening an industry in India. So what kind of address, locations, as well as the owner name, as well as the currency in which they want to operate, and what fiscal year variant they need to operate, and what kind of chart of account structure do they need, and what kind of document types do they need? Do they need the customized one, or do they need any default one is fine with them? And what tolerance settings we need to do? And every input we are going to gather from this. Based on that, we structured it.
Okay, so let me put the whole process into this way. So whatever you have explained that you have covered only this baseline part. So only basic
Baseline part.
only
I'm
basic
just putting an
implementation
example
was
here.
done. No, I'm
No,
asking only basic implementation done or AP, AR, asset accounting and any other. What
till
was
AP and
the
AR we have done. Till AP and AR we have done. The basic implementation. Asset they have not yet. We are ongoing.
okay? What are the documents you have prepared for rollout?
So rollout first we have prepared the basic business blueprint documents, sir. And based on that we created the key data structure document, as well as we also prepared the KDS document. And these are the documents which we have prepared. And for the end user, we have prepared the configurational and end user manual.
How did you manage your transport request?
So transport request, we follow the concept of transport of copies. So we don't move the main TR. We'll be creating the transport of copy, and we'll be moving that from development to quality, so that the main TR doesn't get affected. If there is any change which is addressed by the quality department, we'll do it in the transport of copy option, and we'll not create a new TR. We'll be creating the transport of copy, and we'll be linking the main TR to that, and we'll be moving it. Once the defects are clear, then we'll be moving the main TR from the development to quality, and that will be moved to the productions. That is the system which we follow.
Okay. My question is, how did you track your transport request? Let's say 10-20 TRs you have created. So
10,
have
20
you?
TRs we have created. Yes, sir. We have a tool called as Charm tool. So through that we were able to track it, sir. So any transport request which I'm going to create, there will be an approval process. There will be another guy who's going to approve it. And once he approves it, then only I can do the implementation part, and then I'll in the development side, and then I'll request the basis team to move it to the quality and as well as production. We had the Charm tool, which is part of the solution manager, which helps us to track the transport request.
Okay. Have you worked any localization kind of thing? Any localization that only this is applicable only in India. So particularly for India, this is the requirement, or it is only useful for the USA. It is only required in US market. Have you worked in
For
that kind of
example, the
any?
goods and service tax procedure, which is part of India laws, GST procedure, which is localized procedure, indirect tax procedure. We have the concept of GST in India. So
Mm.
based on that, that is one of the localizations which I work.
Okay. Did you face any challenge during the GST implementation?
Yes, we have faced many challenges because when we started implementing, certain rates were part of certain segment. For example, mobile was part of 5% segment. Later
Mhm.
on, sorry, 18% segment. Then what happened? Government changed it from mobile has to move from 18 to 5%. Like this, certain products were part of certain segment were moved to another segment. So the moment you create a tax code for a particular object stating that this is part of 5%, later on we have to again create another type of tax code for the client because the government has changed it, so we have to apply for that also. So
So
instead
do
of
you,
tax
so
perspective, we have to go based on product perspective, sir. So that was a major change we were facing at that time.
so do you think that creating tax code is challenge for the consultant, as you mentioned?
It is not challenge for the consultants. Sir. Point here is product based when they go.
Mm-hmm.
If my organization again product based when you go again, we have to create another tax approach, which was challenging for me. It was new to me because I'm from non-finance,
Okay,
so it
let
was very
let
difficult.
me let me put one scenario. Let's
Mhm.
say when Corona came, let's say before Corona, most of the products were taxed at, let's say, 6%. And by using that tax code, which has 6%, you created many sales order, many delivery, many billings you have created. Okay. Later on, later on, government announced that so for these products or these services, tax can, let's say, increased or decreased. Let's say during Corona, it got decreased. So will you create new tax code for that? Let's say from 6% it came to 5%. So will you create new tax code for 5%? Or you go in same tax code and you decrease from 6 to 5%? How do you handle this one?
Sir, again, we don't need to create a new tax code, sir. We can go by the existing tax code also. We can deactivate it and we can add it. But the best possible way is again better create a new one. That would be best. That's my option.
Okay. Okay. Old one is not possible. Reason being,
Old one it is possible, sir. Old one it is possible, but possible in the sense we have to deactivate the percentage and again we have to reactivate. That is another important change. So better create a new tax code and assign it. That is
okay. So it is, again I'm telling it is not possible the way you're telling. Reason being, when you try to whatever sales orders or anything are created, if you try to do further process, then it will go and look for tax code with same percentage which you have already deactivated, so it will start throwing error. Okay, so it is always good to create new tax code. If you want to maintain in same tax code different percentage, then there is SAP gives one option called condition record option. Okay, so that if you maintain, there is time to time you can maintain from this date to this date it is this much percentage, from this to this date this is the percentage. If you are going
no.
from that way, it is possible in same tax code to maintain multiple percentage. Otherwise you have to create new tax code. If you make any change in the existing tax code, so uh, whatever you have already in whichever process you have already used that tax code, those will start throwing you errors. Okay, if you have made the
No.
changes, no problem. So my next question is to you is what is system landscape, like what is called golden client?
So system landscape is just an arrangement of server in a particular project. So if you're running an SAP project, minimum three systems is needed: development, quality, production. Under your development system, you can divide the server into
In your company, what kind of system landscape it was or it
we have
is?
four, sir. One is sandbox, one is development, quality, and production. We have four systems. Sandbox is given to us for trial and error purpose. So there is no
Mhm,
data movement from sandbox to development or anything. Whatever we do, if we want to run the test run, we used to do that. We used to
mhm,
test our configuration. It is just like a normal server which we do for practice. So
mhm,
developmental system, under that you can divide into multiple spaces called as clients. So under developmental system, you have the golden client where all you do the configuration settings.
Okay.
Then you have the testing client in the same system where you can do the testing, and you can divide, sir. In a particular server, you can divide around about 1,000 clients can be created. So it is always represented with a 3-digit number starting from 000 to 999.
Okay. Let's say you are doing the development and you are facing issue only in the quality system. In development system, you don't have that issue. Okay, it is coming only in the quality system, and you don't have access to fix. You got to know that this is missing only in quality system, and until unless you fix that particular, it is not going to be resolved. Okay. But you are also convincing to your business that, sir, this problem will not come in your production system for sure. Let us move the changes into production. But business is telling that no, I'll not agree until unless you fix the issue in quality system. I'm not going to allow you to move the changes from the quality to production. But you don't have access in the quality system to do that particular changes. So what you will do in this scenario?
So I guess we can log into the quality system and we can do the changes, but I don't know the exact procedure, sir. But we can do the changes only in the quality system. That is possible.
But
So even though
I'm
I don't have
telling,
the access, yeah, I don't have
but
the
you,
access here. So yeah,
so what
I
is
have to
that
log in.
process? What is that process? Let's say you don't have access in the quality system, but you need the access. So what you can do, or what is the process of getting the access only in quality
I
system?
guess I have to send a mail to the basis team, sir. And I have to temporary authorization ID or something they have to provide, and I have to use that, and I have to log into the quality system to do it.
Okay, that
I don't have
word
the
name is called client opening. Okay, you can ask.
client open.
You can ask to basis team, and 1 hour to like this time to this time. That is also in software field we use called window opening. Okay, this time to this time it is available for you. You can make the any changes. Okay, so that is called client opening.
Okay.
Okay, na. So how many chart of account you have used in your company?
So we have used three chart of accounts. One is for group reporting. We have your group chart of accounts and operational as well as country specific.
But you are telling you are operating only in India and Sri Lanka somewhere you told, or only in
No,
India
US,
you
sir.
are.
US and India,
Okay,
sir.
India and US. Okay, so you have, why do you need country specific chart of account in this scenario?
So, sir, the client requests us to change the liability series as well as asset series, sir. They don't want to be the same as represented in US. So for India, they
Mm-hmm.
wanted this separate series. So for
Mm-hmm.
that, we created an operational chart of accounts as well as for country specific. They also needed, they want to change the GL length also. So for that purpose, we introduced this country specific chart of accounts only for this.
Okay, is that local requirement? Is any legal requirement? Why
Yes, sir.
why the
Legal requirement
then
is also there. Legal requirement is also
for GST
not there.
reporting, or why? I want to understand why they want separate length in India for asset accounting, asset series and liability series.
That I don't have an idea, sir. This is the requirement we face. So
No, my why I'm telling, business might have told you, right, that see, this data I'm sending in the government portal, let's say GST and government portal,
mm.
and in that government portal, 6-digit length is not accepted. It accept 7-digit length, okay, or 8-digit length. But there
Okay.
is also way to handle it. 00 in the prefix you can add. Getting now, if that is only
Yeah, yeah.
requirement, then you can ask 000. Config point of view also you can handle. Even if you tell to your ABAPer, you can also add 000 before sending the data to the any government portal. So you know exactly what was the issue, what was the really requirement to change the length of the GL or series of the GL for Indian company codes.
No, sir, exactly. I don't know the issues. I'm not able to remember.
Okay, no problem. Then why do you need group chart of account?
See, for consolidation purpose. they wanted to at the group levels. So at the group level, I need to consolidate both my operational as well as countries first. So that is why they need it.
Okay. How do you pull the group report? Let's say if I'm asking you, let's say business is you're giving training to the user after doing a rollout or after doing implementation. You have to give training that this is how you have to pull the operating report. This is how you have to pull the country specific report. This is how you have to pull the group report. So how do you pull the group report?
So when any report which we are going to see is through financial statement versions. So
Mhm,
there is an option called as group account number or what chart of accounts you're going to mention that. Based on
mhm.
that, system is going to display my profit and loss as well as my balance sheet. So there I
Are you
have an option. I am going to take.
are you sure that you have to give enter the chart, group chart of account?
Yes, group account number is available. Yes, sir. We can do that, sir. We can get that. Group chart of accounts, group reporting.
That's what I'm telling. Are you sure that if you have to enter group chart of account in financial statement version F.01 and it will allow you to run the report?
Yes, sir. Look,
Okay, no problem. You can check it. Okay. So my next question is that how can you extend mass level of GL from US to India? Because you said that you have done the rollout company code in the India, right?
yes,
So you might have extended the company course, as you said. Few you have used also country specific chart of account. Let's say operative chart of account. How you have done the mass extension from US to India
mass
company code?
extension, there is, yes, sir. It's already a T code called as mass. So I'll be using that and I can extend it from one to another company.
So will you be using the mass T code to extend? There is called T code called mass. So that T
Sir,
code you are going to use to
we are
extend,
going to use.
or
Yes, sir.
really? Or
Yeah,
you have done
we'll be
the
using.
any kind of data migration kind of thing? You have considered data migration project also for your
Data
master
migration,
data.
I was not involved, but there is a tool which is available where we can do that, sir. LSMW is there, we can extend it. You can
No,
copy that and we can.
in your project in India, when you did the rollout, let's say you are a functional consultant. So you have only taken care of all the master datas also, or there was separate team? How did you
No,
do?
there was separate teams. There was separate team, master data maintenance team. They were doing it. We were not involved.
But they might have collected all the information from you, right, before doing it, correct?
Yes, sure.
So what information you have given them? First of all, tell me what tools you have used.
One is for LSMW, sir, which we were using in ECC when we were using that. But right now in S4 HANA, we were 1909 version, we were using LTMC, where we used to do that.
Okay. How did you finalize the list of the GL that from US company code? These are the GL you have to extend to Indian company code.
We'll be sending the template to them, sir. I have to create an Excel sheet where I'll be sending to the client. And I was asking them what exactly the list you want, what kind of GLs you're going to operate. They're going to give the list and we're going to format it. And the number series and everything, we're going to put it in a template. Based on that, we'll upload it.
So you are going to give only template, or you are going to give dump also, because GLs are already created in SAP. So you are going to
Yeah,
give
yeah,
them
sure,
dump.
sure. We'll going, no, sir, not dump in the sense it will be like, oh, sample GL accounts. Like that, we'll be giving them so that they'll get an idea about what.
Okay, no problem. Without using FS00, how can you create the GL master?
You
Let's say
can create through
operating
this.
GL.
You can migrate.
I want to create operating GL, okay?
If
But I don't want to
operating
use FS00. So how can you
FS
create?
01 one option is there, sir. If you're using data migration, FS01 is there to create. Or else
Okay,
if you're
let's say
planning now, you
okay,
can go through FS.
sorry, I'll interrupt. Let's say I don't want to use FS01 also. Then is there any
Then
other
we
way
first
also?
create the chart of account segment, sir. First, we have to enter through chart of account segment through FSP0. Then you have to
Uh-huh.
extend it to the company code segment that is FSS0. So you have to
Mhm.
use two steps to create a GL master data if you're not planning to use FS double.
Okay. Okay. What is called open item management?
So open item concept is only applicable for balance sheet accounts which requires future clearing. And whether it is applicable for all balance sheets, no, it is applicable for certain balance sheets account which requires future clearing. In SAP, all pending transactions or incomplete transactions are called as open items. So example, pending payables, pending receivables, all your
Mhm.
tax payables, tax receivables, and GRIR clearing account, your bank sub accounts. For this, open item concepts are applicable. There are certain GLs for which open item concept is not applicable. One is going to be your P&L accounts, expenses and revenue, as well as the reconciliation accounts, bank main bank account, so and cash account, share capital account. These are GLs which are not open item managed GL accounts. How will I identify whether it is open item enabled? When you're creating the GL account, there is an indicator called as open item management indicator. We have to enable it. And system understands that it is open item enabled GL.
Okay. Okay. Please, can you please tell me how many return earning you have created?
So return earnings account, we have created two, sir. One for operating, one for non-operating. So we have represented in the T code OB53.
Mhm.
So for operating return earnings account, we created one. Another one is going to be for non-operating. We have represented with an alphabet X and Y. We have seen.
Why do you need to return earning account?
So because they want to show it separately, sir. For all my operating profit, there should be one, and non-operating profit, I should track it. So for that purpose, the client has requested to do.
You don't have any third party reporting tool. If you have third party reporting tool, you can easily do, right? Operating PNL you can prepare, non-operating PNL you
Here
can
we don't
prepare.
have that third-party operating tool. Is not that.
You have not used any like BW group reporting or
Oh,
HFM, Hyperion and all. You have not used any kind of third party tool. You have not used for reporting
no,
purpose.
no, sir, I have not used it.
Then how do you prepare all your no reporting reports?
Reporting reports in the sense.
Let's say balance sheet, then your PNL. There may be other so many reports, sales register, purchase registers, right? So how did you prepare that? In India, you know that they will prepare sales register book, purchase register book, that is mandatory for GST purpose. So what you have done for that reports? Have you created custom reports or any standard reports you have got in SAP?
For purchase register and sales register reports, I don't have an idea about the T code where it is going to be tracked or everything. But still, mm, I don't have clarity on that, sir. I am not
No,
involved in that process. That
no,
is why I
no,
don't know.
no problem. So you explained very well about the open item management, and as far as I know, most of the company in their life they will face open item managed GL related issue. Let me give you a scenario, and please you provide me the solution. Let's say there is one bank GL, bank clearing GL. You forgotten to activate open item management. Okay, and you did some posting. Later on business is telling that I want to activate it. Okay, so what process will follow to activate non-active non-open item managed GL or vice versa?
So the moment you posted it,
Mhm,
and if you have not activated the open item management, I cannot come to FS00, edit the GL account, and I cannot reactivate it. So
mhm,
only option here is I have to run a program. I
mhm.
guess some program name is there, sir. I have to run that program so that I can it will make sure that it deactivates it, then we can activate it. So from that moment onwards, you can do that. Will be the solution for the issue which you have raised.
From that moment in a sense, so let's say today are running the program, so it will activate from today, or even few posted invoices also will become open invoices or open, they will also work as a open item managed. How it will work?
Posted invoices will not become open item manager. From now on, whatever you are going to post through this GL account, it will become open item manager.
Are you sure?
Yes, sure.
No, in fact, you can do it. So when you are activating, you can give the date from when you want to make it open. Okay, so let's say you'll go and check all your list of the invoices or anything posted. Check the oldest and for 1 day before you give the date. So all posted invoices which are already there, those also become into red color, means open. Okay, so that is possible. No problem. Have you worked on document splitting?
Yes, sir. I worked on document splitting.
Is it mandatory to use document splitting?
So because if my client wants to see the financial statement before the company code level, this technique is mandatory, sir. I have to activate document splitting. So if
No,
I want to visible,
from system point of view, is it mandatory to use the document splitting concept?
it is not mandatory, sir. But if this requirement is there, then you have to make sure that this is mandatory. It becomes mandatory because for every line item, profit center information has to be mapped. So for that, we have to activate document splitting. That is the only way. So that only I can track the segment report.
Okay, then what are the kind of document splitting you have?
So first splitting is called as inheritance splitting. So in a particular document, in one line item alone, profit center is available.
Mhm.
Corresponding line item doesn't have a profit center, then system will automatically inherit the profit center from the debit line item to the credit line item. And this impact can be seen in the general ledger view when you display the document. The
Mhm.
second important document splitting is called as your passive splitting. So now, assume that you're posting a vendor invoice. Their inheritance splitting has come into picture because purchase account I am going to assign a cost center. Through cost center, system will pick the profit center, and systems links the profit center to your sundry creditor account. Now, at the time of payment, when I'm coming to F-53, vendor
Mhm.
account debit to outgoing bank account credit, both are balance sheet items, so I'm not entering the profit center. System will pick the profit center for my vendor line item from the previous document sundry creditor which we have assigned. That process is called as passive splitting. So system is going to pick the profit center from the previous document reference. So that is
But
profit center.
first
Yeah.
also you told passive only, if I listen correctly. So you told passive, you told inheritance, passive and passive.
Yes.
2 times you told passive.
And first is inheritance splitting, sir. In one line item in the
Mhm.
document, only one profit center is given. That is
Okay.
inheritance splitting. System will inherit automatically. But when I'm doing F-53, I'm not entering profit center in my vendor line item as well as outgoing bank account. Then how system
Okay.
is going to pick the profit center from the
I'll
vendor?
stop you here. I'll stop you, Muthu. Let's say if you want to enter in the vendor line item profit
Yes,
center,
sir. We
how
can enter,
do
sir.
you
In the
enter?
moment you enter, sir, for sundry creditor, it cannot be entered, sir. Profit center information.
Mhm.
Whereas I can enter to the corresponding credit line item bank account. I can enter
Okay.
there. Then system
Okay.
will automatically pick it. That is in her.
No, but if you are entering, then why system will pick again from the previous document?
And not
It
from
will
the
pick.
previous document. I am talking about the outgoing bank account line item. There are two line items, right? Debit and credit.
Uh-huh.
I'm entering the
Okay.
profit center in outgoing bank account. System will automatically pick the profit center from outgoing bank account to the sundry creditor account.
Okay. 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 Got it. Then what is another type of
Another
um,
type of splitting is active based splitting, or active document
mhm,
splitting. So
mhm,
assume that we are purchasing a raw material as well as service from the same vendor. So raw
mhm,
material purchase account debit and service purchase account debit to corresponding vendor account credit. So
mhm.
raw material purchase account, I'm giving a different profit center, and service purchase account, I'm giving a different profit center. So now system is in dilemma, which profit center should I need to pick or assign to this vendor? So this vendor line item is going to be splitted based on the expense information, percentage what you have assigned for raw material and service. So system will split the vendor line item into raw material purchase account debit to sundry creditor account debit, and system will map the profit centers, and service purchase account debit and as well as your sundry creditor account will be in the credit based on the profit center assigned to service. So the net profit center balance is also zero. My accounting balance is also going to be zero. This is based on rule based splitting methods. This is called as your active splitting, which occurs at the time of first time when you start posting the invoice and will come into picture. last one is called as your zero balance clearing. When your net profit center balance is not zero, then system will tell you to create a zero balance clearing account and we will be posting.
Okay. Okay. So have you done any workshop on this topic to the business?
No, sir, I've not done any workshop.
You might have informed them, right, that this is the concept we are going to implement. Otherwise, client will ask what is this zero balance line items.
I've not done in
So,
the form of workshop. We had just a conversation. Yes, sir. We have explained it. Even.
so have they understood what you have explained to them? Or they have asked you
Yes.
any cross questions like this is splitting, how it is happening, where percentage are maintained, that vendor line item is getting split into two line items.
We just showed you
So
that. And we just showed a demo entry, sir. That's it. So they understood.
they understood.
How
They
this
they
is
don't
related
they
to the
don't have any
accounting entry.
confusion.
They had
They,
initially they had this confusion how it is going to work and everything. Once we showed the demo and with the accounting entries, they understood that this is how it is getting split. They didn't ask any.
okay. Okay, no problem. Have you worked on assessment and distribution allocation cycle?
Distribution and assessment cycle I worked.
Have
So
you
this
worked?
is
Mm-hmm,
yes, sir. There is a process called as cost reallocation process.
mm-hmm,
So there are certain expenses which I don't have a clarity to map to which cost center or which cost object should I need to assign.
mm-hmm,
So for that, what we will do here is generally we will book under common or headquarter cost center. Then we will start reallocating that amount to the respective cost centers. While I am doing this process is called as cost reallocation process. One of the methods are distribution and assessment cycle. This is one of the cost reallocation process method. In the distribution cycle, what I'm going to tell here is since this activity is going to keep on repeatedly occurring, I'll tell SAP that, boss, this is going to be the sender. And what are the sender rules? I'm going to transfer the posted 100% actual amount. I'm going to transfer. Who are all my receiver? I'm going to tell SAP that they are going to be the receiver, the list of cost centers who are going to receive it. And how am I going to allocate it based on fixed percentage or based on fixed amounts or based on variable portions? We can choose that. That is going to be a receiver rule. So based on that, I'm going to create a cycle. In case of distribution cycle, the transaction code to create a distribution cycle is KSV1. V2 is for edit, V3 is for display, V4 is for delete, and V5 is for running the cycle. So first I have to create this distribution cycle. I have to mention who are the senders, who are going to be the receivers, and what percentage. Assume that I'm taking fixed percentage means what percentage amount I'm going to split. So the percentage basis amount has to be mentioned in the receiver tracing factor. The important activity to identify this part is the business transaction key. That is going to be RKIV. That is the business transaction key which identifies this distribution cycle. Then I'm going to execute it through the T code KSV5. So system will automatically transfer the amount from a common cost center to the receiver cost center based on the information which I've posted in the distribution cycle. The most important point here is when I'm reallocating this cost, I'll be using the primary cost element. And the original cost element will be shown in the sender as well as the receiver cost.
mm-hmm. Okay. And what
This
is
is
then?
distribution cycle with respect to the assessment cycle. So
Mm-hmm,
this is also one of the cost reallocation process. The same process flow, I'll be booking under a common cost center. I have to reallocate to the other cost centers. Here, instead of primary cost element, we'll be creating a secondary cost element to reallocate the cost. And we'll be using that secondary cost element mapping to my assessment cycle. If you want to create an assessment cycle, the transaction code is KSU1, U2 is for edit, U3 is for display, U4 is for delete, and U5 is for executing it. The business transaction key to identify this assessment cycle is RKIU. So the most important point here is first we will create the cycle and we'll be creating the list of receivers, senders, rest all same as my distribution cycle. But here the secondary cost element is going to help me out with the category cost element category 42. That is going to help me out in the reallocating the cost. And the original cost element will never be displayed in the report. Your cost secondary cost element will be displayed in the receiver side. This is the
okay.
observation which I have done in ASAP.
Okay. So you are working in ECC or S4 HANA?
So for support project, I'm using in ECCs. Right now, the rollout is for HANA.
So in S4 HANA, how did you handle this
Yes, in
assessment
S/4HANA,
and
there is a here we have there is called as manage allocation cycles. Through that we use it. In ECC, we were using this T codes KSU1, KSV1, and your business transaction. We were doing.
so which one you feel more comfortable working via T code or working via manage allocation?
So the manage allocation theory happen.
Okay. 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 Can you please tell me what are the differences between ECC and S4 HANA?
ECC and S/4HANA, first important difference. So the reason why ECC S/4HANA came is the database. That is, SAP created its own database that is called as HANA database.
Mhm.
Earlier, we were using third-party database or rental database for ECC server, but right now, this S4 HANA application can only run in the HANA database. It cannot run in any other third-party database. This is architectural difference. Coming back to the topic-wise difference, let us take an example of
Are
fiscal
you
cost.
sure on this point that it will run only in HANA database, no other database?
Yes, sir. HANA application can only run in HANA database.
Okay.
Things it will run in any other database.
Hmm.
So now coming back to the topic called as posting period variant. So
Mhm.
this topic in ECC, I can control the normal posting period through period interval 1, and special periods can be controlled to period interval 2.
Mhm.
Whereas in S4 HANA, they have introduced a new period interval called as period interval 3, where I can control the CO to FI postings also. This is the new change with respect to that topic. And coming back to chart of accounts topic, there was a cost element creation method where we will define in OB13 screen whether I am going to choose manual or automatic creation. Since in S4 HANA they have merged cast element and GL master data, this option is not available in S4 HANA when we go to OB13. And coming back to the document type concept, there was no new document type called as CO and CC available in ECC. Whereas here in S4 HANA, they introduce a new document type called as CO as well as CC for identifying any CO to FI reposting activities. That is
Okay.
another important change. So like this
Okay.
topic by topic, again, master data level changes are there. And with respect to AP and AR, we have the business partner concept that is introduced here, and
Oh,
which was available in ECC, but it was not mandatory. Whereas with AP and AR, that is accounts payable and accounts receivable, this concept has come into picture. And with respect to GL master data, there we had only two account types, P&L and balance sheet in ECC. Whereas in S4 HANA, we have multiple account types starting from cash account. For non-operating expenses and revenue, there is a separate account type. For primary cost or revenue, there is a separate account type. And balance sheet account also, we have a separate account types.
okay.
And there are
So
new fields which are introduced in the master data also. Well, yes, sir. And the line item display field, which was there in ECC, it is not no more active in S4 HANA. And the GL master data, which is removed.
okay, at screen level it is removed or table level also it is removed.
Yes, sir. And table level also, I guess it is removed.
Okay, are you sure?
Line
If you
item
go in
display.
SKB1,
Okay.
can you
No, sir.
see line item display
Only
field?
line item. Yeah, yeah, it is there. It is there. Only at the
Okay.
screen level it has been removed.
Okay. Okay. My next question is when you are telling that when you're posting CO document type you talk about, so you are telling
Yes.
when you're posting in FCO, it gets posted in the FI side also. So let's
Yes, sir.
say you are doing assessment and you told that for assessment there is a business transaction called RKU2, right?
RKIU. RKIU.
Okay, RKIU. So how system understand for this RKIU
Yes,
from
sir.
the CO, FI side CO document type should pick. Why not SA document type? Why not AA document type? How where this integration is being done?
Sir, when we were doing the baseline configuration, there is a separate steps for performing FICO integration steps. There we
Mm-hmm,
have an object called as document type mapping variant. So
mm-hmm.
against this document type mapping variant, all your CO business transactions are linked along with your document type. So there, what document type you're going to specify, system will ask you. In case CO document type is specified there, then system will make sure that in your company code, CO document type number range should be mapped. If that is mapped, then system will execute the assessment cycle correctly. If it is SA document type, then system will ask you to pick the document type. So what document type you are linking against the document type mapping variant and business transaction in that screen, system will ask that particular number range should be available in your system against your company codes. So generally CO document type will be mapped. In that situation only system will identify my business transaction is RKIU, against which what document type I have mapped, CO, against the document type mapping variant. So now system understands crystal clearly, right? When I'm performing assessment cycle, system is picking the business transaction, and from the FI side, system will check whether the CO document type number range is mapped or not. So that will be a system will check both. So in that case, we can easily track it. That is how system will identify.
Okay, no problem. Now coming back to currency and ledger setup. So what was the structure? What are the design in your company code? As you said, you have two company. One is in India, another is in USA. So how many ledgers and currency setup you have done? Fiscal year variant. How do this
We have
structure
only
you
two
have done?
currency setup we have done. So one is my group currency, we have kept it as USD, and my local currency, we have kept it as INR. So with respect to my company code here, which is operating in India. So two
Okay.
currency types, and we have created three ledgers. One
Mm-hmm.
for 0L, which is already predefined by SAP, which we will map it to the group. And we have created L1 and L2 for non-leading ledger for local GAAP as well as for IFRS GAAP. Apart from that, we have created other two ledgers as extension ledger, not as a standard ledger. One for simulation ledger for foreign currency revaluation run, one for external ledgers. So we have created four ledgers. One is default 0L. L1, L2 is your standard ledgers, that is non-leading ledgers for local GAAP and IFRS. L3 is for extension ledger. L4 is for simulation ledger. This is the setup, and currency type we are operating only two currency.
1 minute.
That is your company.
Sorry, Muthu. Let me clarify here. So you said one ledger you created external ledger, something you told, another simulation ledger.
Extension ledger.
Okay. So
Extension.
what is that extension ledger and so do you think that simulation ledger is not extension ledger?
Yeah, it is extension ledger only, sir. It is one of the part of the extension ledger.
Mm-hmm.
This simulation ledger is used primarily for seeing the forecast of my foreign currency revaluation. Month end, assume that month end is 30th of November. I'm going to fix a rate and I'm going to run. That is the update run, actual run. But before itself, if I want to see what is the scenario, whether I'm getting an unrealized loss or gain, if my
Mm-hmm.
client wants to see that, then I'll be using this simulation ledger, which is also part of my extension ledger. I'll be creating it and I'll be selecting the extension ledger type as yes. So the moment I select it, and I'll give a base ledger as my underlying ledger, any standard ledger that is 0L, I'm going to assign it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be using it in the FCV run so that I can forecast it. So assume that on 28th November, what is the result? I'll enter the date there and I'll enter my simulation run along with my simulation ledger. System will display based on the exchange rate which you have maintained on 28th. System will run what will be the scenario. System will only post the result entry. It will not post the reversal entry at that time. And system will post it with an S series number, starting with S series number, and I can see the data only in my SL, that is my simulation ledger, which I have created. And
Oh,
once I have an option of deleting the previous run, once I do the update run, the previous simulation run will get deleted. That is the logic.
okay.
So for
I'm
that
still
purpose,
getting confused. Very nice explanation of simulation ledger, but you told one leading ledger and one IFRS ledger. Then what
one
ledger?
extension ledger, sir. One
That
extension ledger
that
alone we
that
have
is what
created.
that is what I'm getting confused. Extension ledger
No, sir,
separately.
we
We
want to see only that period end adjustments we want to see separately, sir. For
okay.
that
So
purpose, we have
I
created
got it.
extension
So
ledger separately. For
okay.
simulation, all my foreign currency related informations, I have created another extension ledger, which is simulation ledger. So four ledgers
Okay.
we have created for that
Okay, so
purpose.
there is okay. So you selected extension ledger. Then in simulation ledger type, there is first type called
Yes,
standard journal entries, right? So that is how you have
standard.
created, correct? So
Yes, sir.
it means that
Yes.
you have created two extension ledger. One extension ledger is standard journal entry posting, another simulation ledger posting, right? That is what you have done, correct?
Yes, sir. And against that, we have mapped the base ledger as 0.
Okay. Why do you need to map base ledger? Is it mandatory? What advantage it gives to map the base ledger?
To map the base ledger in the sense, logic here is system will pick the information from the base ledger. Say, what fiscal year variant, what posting period variant, what currency type you have given here, system automatically picks. So I
Mhm.
cannot change the fiscal year variant to my extension ledger, but I have an option of changing the posting period variant. So earlier
Mhm.
assume that April to March is my exact fiscal year variant is V3 and posting period variant I've created as PPV1 for my leading ledger. System will automatically copy that to my extension ledger where I cannot edit the V3, but I can create a new posting period variant PPV2 and I can assign it to the extension ledger. So that if my period is closed in my leading ledger also, I can open this period, I can do some adjustment entries and I can see it in the extension ledger. The point.
Okay. Okay. I'll come back to again simulation ledger. So when you did the simulation run,
Yes, sir.
can you see the value in AC Doka?
Value in AC Doka. Yes, sir. That simulation entry, that information before running the update run, I can see the value in AC Doka.
What about
Only the
in
result
BSEG?
entry.
BSEG? Can you check in the BSEG also? Can you see that simulation
No, sir.
posting in
BSEC,
BSEG
I'm
also?
not sure. BSEC, I have not checked it, sir. In AC Doka, yes, with the number series, yes, it will come, sir. Yes, series document number, it will appear.
What is the
But BSEC,
difference
I don't
between
know.
BSEG and AC Doka table? Both are line item, but why SAP has given both the table? Or what differences you found
Different.
that
For
BSEG and
example, this currency type, sir.
Mhm,
So in BSEC, I can only see three different currencies. So your company
mhm.
code currency, group currency, and the third option. But the other customized currencies, whatever you're going to create, right, that will not be
Okay,
displayed in BSEC. I can see it
okay,
in AC account.
okay. I'll sorry, I'll stop you here. So you said that in BSEC you can see only three currencies, right? So where do you define this that these are the three currency I want to see in the BSEC?
The FinC ledger settings we can see, sir. The FinC ledger T code, there is
Mhm.
an option there. We can see the three currencies there. So
Okay, where
whatever three currencies,
what are
sorry,
those known in Finesci underscore ledger? They will have some name, right? Like first currency, second currency, third currency. Some names are there, correct?
I'm not remembering that, sir.
Okay, so that
Mm,
is called
names
first
are-
currency, second currency, third currency. So
Okay.
whatever you give there three currencies, only those three currency will be appearing in the BSEC and but in ACDOCA, all the currencies, even if you are using 10 currencies also, they will go to the ACDOCA. ACDOCA doesn't have any restriction and first currency, second currency, and third currency should be the standard currency. You cannot give any custom currency like ZA, ZY. You cannot, I mean, BSEC table will not show any custom currency value. Okay, it shows only standard currency value and it shows only three currencies. Okay, okay. So let's say you have to tell to the business, let's say you are part of the implementation project, okay, and you have to collect this ledger and currency information from the business. So how will you make them understand? How do you tell that this is a leading ledger, this is a non-leading ledger? Are you going to tell them how, I mean, how you're going to know collect the information from the business? If you tell them leading non-leading ledger, will they
Will
understand?
not be understanding the technical terms, sir.
Yeah,
Whatever
so
we are going to
how
talk, we will
will
not be
make
able
them
to
understand?
understand. So first, we will go and understand their business requirements, sir. We will ask them general questions that how are you going to be your reporting requirements? Are you
Mhm.
going to report only for the local reporting? Are you planning for any IFRS reporting? If they want some investors from outside, naturally they are going to opt for an IFRS. So we are just going to tell it in a simple term that for any accounting principle, a ledger has to be created. That is the logic in SAP. So if you're planning to report it in your local reporting, there should be a ledger. So we map it under that. For IFRS reporting, we'll create an additional ledger that is called as non-ledger. So we will tell it in a layman word so that they'll also understand. That is how we are going to get it. And we will tell them how are we going to be reporting in that. If you're planning to use IFRS reporting, what fiscal year, what financial year they are going to operate. We will be defining that under an object called as fiscal year variant and what periods control we are going to do. We are going to display that. And what currency type options are available in S4 HANA, we are going to tell that and how system is going to pick. We'll tell that. We will not be telling that this is going to be your 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, but we will be telling that this, since your company is operating in India, that will be treated as company code currency, INR. When we are going to create your client, we'll be treating that currency as group currency, USD. So like that, we are going to represent.
Okay, very nice. Have you worked on foreign currency revaluation setup?
Yes, sir. I worked on it.
So why company has to do the foreign currency revaluation?
See, so foreign currency revaluation has to be done because there is a fluctuations in the exchange rates. Exchange rates are not static in nature, it is dynamic in nature. So assume that I have raised an invoice on today's date and I have 90 days credit period to settle it. Month end, there can be a change in the fluctuations of my exchange rate. Since it is a foreign currency transaction, I have to prepare my financial statements in my local currency. For that purpose, I have to reevaluate it in my local currency. So for that, I have to do this FC revaluation process, foreign currency revaluation process, where I can run it for open item managed accounts as well as for non-open item managed. If you're planning to do for open item, the transaction key is KDF. For non-open item management, it is KDB. SAP has given us the logic. Any ledger you create, there a ledger group will be automatically created. This ledger group will be mapped to the accounting principle, and we are going to define a valuation method. SAP has given us 4 different ways to evaluate it. One is your always valuate method, only revalue, lowest value principal method, and strictly lowest value principal method. The most suited option is always valuate. We will be selecting that as a valuation method. Then we will be linking that valuation method to my valuation area. So this valuation area is going to be linked to the accounting principles. Now I have all the information against which ledger I'm going to reevaluate, what accounting principle I'm going to do, and what valuation method. All the information is linked to my valuation area. Using this valuation area in my run, we are going to run it. So there will be 3 GL accounts which we'll be creating. I can get an unrealized loss. I can get an unrealized gain as well as a balance sheet adjustment account which I have to create it, and I have to assign it against the KDF transaction key based on valuation area wise. Also, we can create separate GL accounts. If you're for common valuation area, then you can create the GL accounts and against the sundry creditor account, sundry debtor account, and in case of GL open item, bank loan account, you can assign.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you here one question. So, what is the use of the valuation area? Why valuation area? What valuation area plays an important role in foreign currency revaluation setup?
It has 2 functionalities, sir. First functionality, if I'm going to run my FC revaluation, I'm going to run against this object called as valuation area. I already told this valuation area is already linked to the accounting principle, so I can drag that information there. With my accounting principle, already I've linked my ledger or non-leading ledger. That information is also mapped here, and the valuation method information is also assigned. That is first functionality. Second functionality here is if you're planning to assign this GL accounts for automatic postings, if client is asking you to create a different GL accounts for different valuation areas, then I can assign it against OBA1. I can select the different valuation area and I can assign this different GL accounts. This is possible because of this valuation area.
Okay.
This is my understanding.
Okay. So one valuation area cannot be assigned to two ledger.
Mm, One valuation area cannot be assigned to 2 ledgers. No, sir, it can be assigned, but one valuation method only can be assigned to one valuation area.
No. Okay. So what I'm telling you told that valuation area is linked to accounting principle and accounting principle linked to ledger. So ideally you want
Yes,
to
sir.
run the foreign currency revaluation ledger wise. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Ledgers.
that is the
Yes, sir.
so I'm asking one valuation area can be linked to two ledgers.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Or
sir. It can be linked. It can be linked. Can be linked.
then what is the use again? How system will understand then that when you are giving B, let's say valuation area 1, then how system will understand either it has to be posted to the leading ledger or non-leading ledger? How system will understand because you are giving same valuation area for both the ledgers.
Yes, sir. Then we have an option also. Against my accounting principle, what ledger group you have assigned and valuation method. So based on that part, we can differentiate it.
Okay, let me again rephrase my questions. So when you run the foreign currency revaluation, you give company code and you give valuation area, right? Correct.
Yeah, sir.
Now let's say I created valuation area 1. If I'm giving 1, then how system will understand this 1 is equal to Leading ledger or non-leading ledger? How system will identify if you are assigning both same valuation area to two accounting principal followed by two ledger? That is my question. Let
In that
me
case,
put.
if you want to create a separate valuation area for non-leading ledger, separate valuation area for leading ledger, correct?
No, I'm
That would be
asking
the.
you,
But
is
your
it
question is one valuation area for two ledger groups, correct, right?
no, I'm
Your question
asking
is.
whether it is possible or not. So you said it is possible. If it is possible, then this is then third question I asked, how it is possible, how system will identify when I have assigned same valuation area to multiple ledgers. So how system will understand which ledger it has to be posted, because I'm giving valuation area one while doing the foreign currency revaluation. So that is the question. So do you think that one valuation area can be linked to multiple ledgers? That is the question. Let us. Is it possible?
Can be, but I have not worked on that, sir. But I have not tried that situation. But for me, I have created only one valuation area and one ledger, but I have not tried that.
So
I don't
which
have an
ledger?
answer.
You have created one valuation
We
area
have
for
created
which
two
ledger?
separate valuation areas. No, sir. One valuation area for one ledger only I worked. Zero will only I worked. I'm not
Okay.
created for non-leading ledger. So I have not tried
So
that.
your business said that for non-leading ledger they do not want to run foreign currency revaluation.
No, sir. Right now we have not executed. Till now we have not executed. I have to execute now.
No, I'm
We can
asking.
run.
I'm
We can
asking.
run. There is an option in SAP to run it, but I don't know what exactly the configuration for that. We can do that for non-leading also, but in my business requirement, we are running only for leading.
Okay, they are running only for leading, right? So
Yes.
when you discuss with the business for foreign currency revaluation, what are the details you have asked with them? How did you know interacted with them and collected the information and did the configuration?
And what kind of import or export business they are doing, sir? So apart from domestic purchase, what foreign purchase and foreign sales they are doing? So I
Mhm,
got the list of customers who were belong to which countries. So
mhm,
based on that, we told them that for this kind of transaction in SAP, we have to address it as foreign currency transactions. For this currencies, we'll be conferring the currency codes in SAP, and as well as we'll be doing the revaluation process based on accrual concepts. Sir, I just told them the example of accrual concept. So
mhm,
we took the example of in Tamil Nadu, we pay EB bill for 2 months once. So
mhm,
if I follow cash basis accounting, I'll only pay on January month.
mhm,
November, December, I'll not account it. But we are
mhm,
following accrual basis. So month end we will book. November month end I'll book an electricity expense account debit, which is a P&L. Corresponding electricity payable account, which is a balance sheet account, I'll book and I'll reverse it in the next month first. I told this example. So they understood that. So for the December month also, I'll in the month end I'll book this entry. Next month first I'll reverse it. So even though I have posted any entries, actual is not happening in November and December. I'm anticipating that if I have to collect the source of fund to manage on January, right? So I'm posting that entry. If I see the net balance, it will be zero. But since I have an accounting entry there, I'm forecasting the organization that be prepared for this unrealized loss. Or because of this, I took that concept and I inculcated in FC revaluation. They were able to understand. So when I'm running an FC revaluation, I need a P&L account and a balance sheet account. They were asking the question why these two are coming, so I related to that to here. So they were able to understand. So month end
Okay.
we'll book,
My
next
my
month first we'll
question
do.
is my question is Muthu, let's say you are part of the, let's say you are the lead of your finance area. Okay. So you know that every lead of their respective area has to conduct the workshop on every topic almost, okay, in implementation project. So my question is, when you conducted the workshop with business, what are the information you have asked them? Did you ask any information before doing the configuration, or how it is? How are you only went and started giving the GL is applicable for foreign currency revaluation, this GL is
No, sir,
applicable
we
for KDB,
took one
KDF?
scenario.
Yeah.
No, we took one scenario, sir. They are doing a sales in a particular company. They have customers from Europe, that is Spain, sir, exactly from Barcelona. So we
Mm-hmm.
took that scenario and we told that you have raised as credit sales for this much amount. At that time, the exchange rate was this. So month end, when it comes, the exchange rate is going to fluctuate. So I have to reevaluate. So when I'm reevaluating, what and all the input parameters we collected it and we showed them as a demos. And they understood.
Okay. Okay, no, okay, no problem. I will give little hint. Let's say whenever if I am going for implementation, so I would have already designed my GLs. Okay, GL designing might have already been done. That these are the GL will be created. This is called open item, non-open, everything. Then I'll be asking with the business which are the GLs. Let's say vendor and customer GLs. They want to do the revaluations. That is open item. First, I will open item, non-open item manage GL. I will ask them, tell me which are the open item manage GL you want to do the revaluation, including your vendor and customer reconciliation GL. Then they will tell these are the GL we are going to use for foreign currency transaction. And then we'll ask also something called non-open item manage GL, the bank loan, as you said. So that information also you have to collect with them, because until unless they say you that these are the GL I want to do the revaluation and these are my open item managerial, these are non-open item managerial. How you are going to map? That was my question. Because country to country it differs. See, if you go in Turkey market or in some other market, they do not do all the GLs revaluation. Okay, limited GL only they do revaluation. I think in Turkey only bank GL they do the revaluation. So that list of the GLs segregating open item, non-open item managed GL you have to collect from them. Okay. Then open item managed GL are mapped in which, where in KDF, and non-open item manager mapped in the KDB. So in that way you can map. Prior to that, the guy who has designed the GLs, he might have already told them these are the GL we will be using. Let's say balance sheet adjustment, realized GL, unrealized gain, realize, unrealized, है ना? All those GL he might have already explained. They will be having it with them, and you can ask that GL that we will be mapping. But this is not that important. But at least which are the GL they want to revaluate. That is important. You cannot put all the GLs which are going to be used in the foreign currency transaction. It is business call. They have to decide. Okay, Muthu, what I'm trying to tell here.
Sir, yes, sir, understood. Got it.
Understood, right? Now tell
Yes, sir.
me what is the difference between KDF and KDB business transaction? Why SAP has given two? Do you really think that KDB is really required? Why KDF cannot handle the KDB requirement?
Here, so concept itself says that it is open item enabled, sir. So naturally it requires clearing. Whereas for non-open item, I don't need the clearing part, right? I just need to do the revaluation part. So there is no concept of realization concept in non-open item management. So that is why they have differentiated into KDF and KDB. So
But let's say,
KDF, we are going to
sorry, 1 minute, let me stop you. Let's say, okay, realization is not required for non-open item management. But I can, what if I put in KDF and I don't map the realization GL there, only unrealized gain, unrealized loss, and balance sheet adjustment. I still have 3 GL option now there. I can map only 3 GLs and realized GL. If I'm not mapping, also fine. It will not pick. You're getting what I'm telling?
understand that. So there is a concept of exchange rate difference key, which is going to play a vital role, sir, in KDB.
That is what telling. If I'm going
So
in
this exchange
KDB,
rate,
1 minute, Muthu, that is required if I go to KDB.
yes, sir.
My question is, I don't want to go to KDB. Can I still achieve that requirement in KDF itself? Why KDB is really required? Or let's say why
KDB is
KDF
for
is required. Let's say why KDF is required. Vice versa. Why KDF is required? Why cannot handle by KDB only everything?
so KDB cannot accept sundry creditor or my subledger accounts. Correct, right? Naturally, it is going to be my open item in nature. So where can I map that? So only that options of open item concept itself is based on that only they have differentiated, right? That is my
You are
understanding.
close.
That is why.
You are close. So see, if you are evaluating the reconciliation GL, In reconciliation GL, you cannot do direct posting. Because of that, some GL come balance sheet adjustment coming instead of reconciliation GL. That is the reason when you do revaluation, if you are getting unrealized gain or loss in upset line item, balance sheet adjustment come. It doesn't come your reconciliation GL, because in reconciliation GL you cannot do direct posting.
Not do direct posting.
Okay, that is one reason. Okay, but in KDB, if you go, your unrealized gain or loss or foreign currency gain and loss will come, and an upset line item, your original GL will come.
Yeah, original GL will come. System will not map the
Okay,
original GL. Yes.
but if you don't want to hit to original GL, then even non-open item also you can map in the KDF itself, you can map, but it will still hit, but it will hit to the balance sheet adjustment. Okay, so that is how KDF works and that is how KDB works. Okay,
Sure.
so for reconciliation GL, you cannot map in the KDB, reason being it will never allow you to hit to original GL. Okay, okay, so
Sure.
that is the compulsion that you have to map in KDF. But KDB, whatever you're mapping in KDB, if you don't want to hit to main GL, then you can map still in the KDF also. And how system reach the information? It will first, let's say you map in both the places. One GL, you map in KDB also, you map in the KDF also. Okay. So
Yes.
which one system will give priority?
So priority is three ways. First, the
Mhm.
system will go based on valuation area wise. If you are giving GL account based on valuation area wise, system will give that priority first. And then
Okay.
open item managed, then KDBs. System will go in that manner.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay, Muthu. I think it took almost one hour to conduct your mock interview. Thank you so much. Okay, it was
Mhm.
really nice. So other people.
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. So Muthu will note down that one. So Desana, what do you think about Muthu, please? How can he be better? Which area he has to improve? So Desana, are you there?
Yes, sir. So, no, sir, I don't have any suggestion for the improvement. I think he has performed very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think there can be any improvement. Being a fresher, he has done a very good thing.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Silas, what about you? What is your feedback on Muthu?
Same what the Kalyan sir has said.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm stopping the recording, guys. I don't have anything for Muthu, but only it is not for Muthu, for everyone. When you are my student, you should always give some more information. Okay, some unique point you have to add, which other students other they are not knowing. That is what I always request throughout my training. You have to tell something unique which even Google is also not knowing. Okay, like I asked in foreign currency revaluation also, some tricky kind of thing I asked. Okay, so I have explained all this thing during the session. So I want you to answer all those things. So even interviewer also go and test it and check it. He become more curious. But for that, you also should be very sure. You should also be very sure. So I'll only suggest that one. If possible, please try to give some unique point. And I always tell these are the unique point. Even Google is also not having this information, or even other candidates will not be having this information. If you tell this, you'll become unique in that interview process. So that is only I'll try to tell Muthu. Okay, okay, Namuthu.
Sure. Okay.
That is what I'll tell. Other than that, you are answering really